Welcome to part 3 of your digital thread. Creating a digital thread is a large undertaking, and naturally during this undertaking, multiple different ideas will be presented by multiple different persons. However, many of these ideas have already been examined and utilized and provide both a positive and negative impact. The first concept is app standardization across the enterprise, an example of which is every plant can use the same MES, so implementation will be quick. In reality, MES standardization is extremely difficult, and while it will be discussed as a viable option, it's very difficult in a large heterogeneous production network to implement. Every application vendor has integration capabilities, but those are slated towards their own apps and may have difficulty in a heterogeneous environment. Typically, app vendors leverage their integration to promote their suite of applications, and while the tools are capable of connecting to data outside of their suite, the amount of time, resources, and effort must be carefully examined and understood. An example of this is a procurement app or catalog that needs to connect to an MES from a product number perspective, and this product number also has to be tied to a PLM, and they will all have different IDs. This requires services to transform data, and a single source of truth must be leveraged and reconciled against. Cloud-based apps are also becoming common, which requires a different integration, but this can also be done very quickly, as long as you have the purpose-built tools and add-ons to greatly simplify this process. Selecting a favored vendor instead of a best-of-breed tools can stifle productivity and innovation because you're wholly buying into that vendor's view of how an aerospace and defense company should operate. So the first trap that we're looking at is not a technology trap, but a change management trap. Large-scale digital transformation projects can fail, and cost is certainly a major factor as project sponsors get impatient when unexpected hurdles arise. But the main reasons for failure are not technology. The best way to ensure change management is to communicate early and often to get buy-in from plant managers, system stakeholders, key personnel, SMEs, and educate them on the benefits of digital thread. Reassure them that jobs will not be lost, but rather they will learn the new technology. For example, a large enterprise client, which had about 40 plants across the US and Canada, found that those who embraced the new vision learned new ways of working with the technology and were then used to implement the new initiatives. They ended up in positions of leadership during and after a very successful rollout. The company was coming out of bankruptcy and went all in on its digital thread project. In their case, it was very successful, but that was because of top-down support from the executive levels, board of directors, and a steering committee. A very strong PMO office was established, which clearly defined governance constructs, roles, responsibilities, milestones, and macro checkpoints. Additionally, ensuring that you have a strong technology strategy that compensates for proprietary versus standardized data, multiple systems of records that include legacy applications that need to be brought along because there's still golden data in them, as well as being able to leverage existing IT and OT systems, especially mainframe systems and the OT that are still viable and working, and doing this all in a secure, highly connective way. In terms of some key discoveries, we're looking at the implementations of new foundational apps that will take a significant amount of time, and the cost can be staggering. Building your digital thread with existing systems and augmenting them has been shown to take years off of projects and decrease costs by millions to tens to hundreds of millions of dollars based upon your organizational size. Disconnected apps aren't pretty, and they're very expensive, which makes them dangerous, especially from a security and maintenance standpoint. Complicating this is that most companies have grown by acquisition and have a large quantity of differing apps and consolidation that can take a significant amount of time. A single vendor control project can be expensive. Procurement may find having a large primary strategic vendor could significantly increase costs, and it's not a common practice to do this outside of IT. However, once your digital thread is completed, it's not unusual for the organization to experience reputational gain, and the impact across the industry is often realized, even if it wasn't an explicit goal when you started out, because the organization is no longer seen as a technology laggard, and it's recognized as a standard bearer.